In this video, I'm going to show you how to identify scientific variables. In science, we have three main types of variables: the independent variable, the dependent variable, and the controlled variable. Starting with the independent variable, it is the one that you change. Or as I like to say, it's the one that I intentionally change, that IN at the start, intentionally change. It is the independent variable. So if we have a look at the experiment below, we are changing the type of liquid that's used to water the plant, and then we're going to measure how high the plant grows. So in this experiment, the independent variable, the one that I am intentionally changing, would be the type of liquid that is used to water the plant. That is the one I'm intentionally changing. Next, we have the dependent variable. And the dependent variable is the one that you test. Okay, I actually like to say test instead of measure, because often you measure many different things, whereas in an experiment you are testing one thing. You are deliberately testing one thing. Okay, that's how I like to remember it. I am deliberately testing the dependent variable. And so in our experiment, what am I deliberately testing? Well, I'm deliberately testing the height that each of the plants grows. Okay, that is what I am deliberately testing. Next, we have the controlled variable. Now, the controlled variable are all of the variables that you keep the same. Okay, it's super important that you keep everything else the same except for your independent variable. Everything else should be kept the same, right? And you are testing your dependent variable, you are changing your independent variable, but everything else stays the same. So in our experiment, what stays the same? Well, ideally, we're keeping the plants the same, we're keeping the soil the same, the size of the pot, the temperature that they're growing in, the amount of sunlight that they get, and there are so many more than that. So your controlled variable often has many examples, whereas your independent and dependent only have one. So if we're to practice this a little bit with some questions, okay, let's have a look. Question 1. A study was done to find if different tire treads affect the braking distance of a car. So what is the thing that I am intentionally changing? Well, I'm intentionally changing the tire treads in this example. Okay, so I would write down the tire tread. And what is the thing that we are deliberately testing? Well, we're deliberately testing the braking distance. Okay, so in that case, if I'm intentionally changing the tire tread and deliberately testing the braking distance, what do I want to keep the same? Well, I want to keep the same car, right? If I change the car, that's probably going to affect my results. Well, I want to probably keep the road the same, because that could affect my results. Okay. And lastly, I probably want to keep the weather the same. Now, there's probably more than that, but I'm just going to stick with those three. Okay. Now, looking at question 2. The time it takes to run a mile depends on the person's running speed. Okay, so what is the thing that I'm intentionally changing here? Well, I'm intentionally changing the person's running speed. And what is the thing that I am deliberately testing? Okay, the time it takes to run a mile. So then, what do we want to keep the same in this experiment? Well, in this experiment, we probably want to keep the person the same. Because if I use different people, that could possibly change my results. Okay, I probably want to keep the track that they're running on the same. And the last one that I'm going to list here, again, probably the weather. Because if it gets super slippery, that could affect my results. Okay, so the independent variable is the one that I intentionally change. The dependent variable is the one that I deliberately test. And the controlled variables are all the ones that we keep the same.